Welcome to Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly with host Nancy Becher on Global Voice Radio. Nancy and her guests will share tips and recommendations on moving forward in your life and business now and not waiting till pigs fly. Here's your host, Nancy Becher.
Hey everybody, welcome to Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, where we're having a conversation with and for business owners who are seriously looking for strategies that will help them increase their revenues, add more clients to their email lists, and fulfill their dreams of success. No matter who you are, you have to have the right mindset in order for your goals to become reality. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most important aspects of running a business, and that is your clients. One of my favorite statements is that you can make the best widget in the world, but if you don't have people who want to buy that widget, you're not going to be in business for very long. Do you guys agree with that? I mean, oftentimes when I'm out and I'm talking to people, I'll ask them, who do you work with? Who are your clients? What are the things that you sell and how do you sell them? And almost inevitably, I'll get the response that, well, anybody could use what I have to sell. And they don't really understand that that's not the case. When you sell to everyone, you really don't sell to anyone. Does that make sense? Let's look at it for a second and just really dig into why I'm saying this. When you try to sell to everyone, you really have to work hard because, come on, let's face it, not everybody wants everything that's out there on the market. Another example that I use often is, say you live in Alaska, way up in the mountains of Alaska, near the North Pole. It's pretty cold up there most of the time. It doesn't get real warm usually, does it? So if I were an air conditioning salesman, I probably would not sell a lot of air conditioners to the people in my local community. However, if I were living in California, in Texas, and some of the areas of the country that get really hot, an air conditioner just might be what everybody's looking for. So, is it going to be easier to sell air conditioners in Alaska? Or is it going to be easier to sell air conditioners in California? That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about figuring out who your client is. When we say anybody can buy what I sell, you really don't know a whole lot about your customer base. You're just hanging your sign and you're saying, I'm open for business. Come on in and buy. One of the things that has been done in the marketing world is called shotgun marketing. And what that means is picture a bullseye on the wall. And I'm an archer. I love to go out and shoot my bow and arrow. And I can see myself standing there with the target downwind from me, and I've got my bow, and I pull my bow, and I face the target, and I look at the bullseye, and then I turn around. And I try to shoot my arrow into that target facing the opposite direction. Now, I've gotten pretty good over the years with my bow, But I can almost guarantee you that I ain't going to hit that target. I'm probably not going to come anywhere near the target, let alone the bullseye. And if I do this a few times and then turn around and look, you're going to see arrows everywhere. There's going to be off to the left. There's going to be off to the right. There's going to be behind the target. There's going to be up close to me. Everybody better have gotten out of my way because I'm liable to have hit somebody trying to do that. Yet, if I focus myself on that bullseye and I pull the bow with my sight focused right on the bullseye, I'm going to come pretty close time and time and time again. Now, the same thing is true with darts. If you like to play darts and you throw darts, if you throw them behind you, you're not going to get as many hits as you would if you're focused on and looking at the target and aiming right at where you want it to show. The first part of that equation, where you're just shooting wildly, is called shotgun marketing. And what that means is you take whatever it is you're trying to sell, what you're trying to market, and you just send it out there. You put posts on Facebook, you put flyers up, you talk to anyone and everyone, not knowing who they are or what they want. You just let the world know that you're selling this product or this service. You'll probably get a few people that are interested, and they'll probably want to know more information, and they may even buy something down the road. But if you're like me, you're not hoping to get 1 or 2 sales. You're hoping to get 20 or 30 sales. How do you do that? The first thing you need to do is figure out who it is that you like selling to. And let me take a step back even from there. The first thing you need to do, really, is to figure out what you're selling. Let's go back to the example of the air conditioners. You're not really selling air conditioners. What you're selling is something that is going to make the person feel comfortable, keep them cool, keep them less stressed out because they're not so hot. They're going to feel much happier because the sweat's not pouring down their faces. If they've got a sick child, the air conditioner is going to keep the fever down because it's going to be cooler in there. It's just a much more enjoyable environment than if they didn't have the air conditioner. What you need to do is figure out what it is that the customer is looking for. The customer either is trying to get rid of a pain they have or is wanting to create some joy in their lives. The pain in this case would be the heat and the uncomfortableness, and maybe they're going to get, the pricklies that you get when you get overheated. My mom, when she was working years ago in an office, had air conditioning in her office. She got out, and this was years ago. She got out in the car. The car didn't have air conditioning. She got home. Our house didn't have air conditioning. It was 100 degrees in the shade when she got home, and she got pneumonia because she went from this cold environment to this hot environment. Doctor told us we had to get an air conditioner. That was critical to her health. I wanted my mom around for a long time. So did my dad. So my dad went out and he bought an air conditioner. And we've had one since I was like 6 years old. So we've had one for a long time. But we didn't buy one because we thought it was an interesting box and that we wanted to spend our money on something. We bought it because we wanted to keep my mom well and to help her get over her sickness. Does that all make sense, guys? I'd love to know if you get what I'm talking about. You can always write comments down at the bottom of this screen and put them in the chat box. I'd love to know if this all makes sense to you, because it's a hard concept sometimes for people to understand, and I really want to get you guys to understand what it is that I'm talking about, because it's very important. If your clients don't have some sort of an emotional attachment to what you're selling, they're probably not going to buy it. Look at commercials on television. They all, they show pictures of this beautiful food and friends sitting around a table laughing. And of course, they're going to have that fun because they're out there at that restaurant eating that hamburger. It's not so much that they want to buy a hamburger as they want to have fun with their friends. And the commercial is telling them this is the way they'll do it. So that's the number one first thing that you need to do when you're trying to sell a business or a service. The next thing that you need to do is to figure out, all right, who is it that is going to want what I have to offer? I know now what it is I'm offering. I'm offering an emotion-based something, but I've still got to figure out who wants that emotion. Let's go back again to the air conditioning. That client, again, is not going to be probably someone living in the northern reaches of Alaska. They are not my ideal client. Someone who is hot and wants to be cool and wants to enjoy spending time in this wonderfully cool atmosphere, that's who's going to be my client. Somebody in Alaska can just go outside and stand outside and they have that. But somebody in California in the hot of summer is going to be more interested in purchasing an air conditioner. So there are some things that you need to do to figure out who it is you need to focus on. Let's kind of break that down a little bit, and we'll start by looking at who is it that you're targeting? What are their characteristics? And that can be something like they're young, they're older. Are they men? Are they women? If you're selling toys, is your target market the children? If you said yes, you'd be wrong. The target market is the parent. The parent's got the money. The parent is the one who purchases. But they're going to purchase something because their kid likes it, because their kid wants it, because the kid's not going to shut up crying unless they get that toy. How often have you walked through the aisles of a store and you hear kids crying and screaming and mom saying or dad saying, come on, and trying to yank them away from the toys. And the kid just keeps going. What happens most of the time? 9 times out of 10, the parent's going to give in and buy that toy because the kid wanted it. So we need to figure out, what are the characteristics? If I'm 60 years old, I don't have any little kids, and I could care less if the kid down the aisle gets that toy or not. I'm not your ideal client because I'm not going to spend money on that kid, although I might just to keep them quiet. But that's what you're looking for when you're looking for your target market. What are their characteristics? Is it somebody who wants to spend a lot of time learning? Then perhaps if you write books on different educational aspects, that's going to be your target market depending on what that person likes to learn and what it is you write. If you never cook, but you buy all of your meals out or you eat TV dinners, a cookbook is probably not something that that person's going to want to spend a lot of money buying unless they've gotten it in their mind that they want to start eating healthier and are ready to learn how to cook. So think of their characteristics. Think about what it is you're selling and how does the person that you want to sell to fit into that mold. Is all of this stuff starting to make sense to everybody? Again, let me know. Okay, so once you've gotten the characteristics, then you need to figure out, and this goes deep, guys. I mean, it takes a little bit of work to get into all of this. And the next thing you need to do is to figure out where they work. What challenges do they encounter? Go back to the bookstore. If they want to learn, but they have eyesight problems, they're either blind or they can't see real well, regular books are probably not going to be real good for them, even though they love to learn and even though they would love to have these books and get all this fantastic information that you're providing. They're not going to be a good market for you unless you can figure out what it is you can do to make that person buy your product. So let's think for a minute. What can you do? You could do something so that they have an audiobook so they could listen. You could put your book in large scale or could turn it into a Braille book. These are challenges that your clients, your ideal clients, may come up with. How do you get around those problems, those issues? And there's a lot of things that you can do at times that I'm not saying that this is something that you would need to do in the beginning. First thing you would do is to start making sure that people who can read your book want your book and are buying your book. So that means, where do they get them? Where are they going to come across them? But if it's somebody who likes, the comic books that are popular these days, I don't know that you can buy those in a Barnes and Nobles, so you have to find where the people that want what you have to offer hang out so that you can get your product or service in their hands. Then we need to think about what are the exact problems that they have that you can solve. What are they? What do they need most from you? These things keep going in a little bit deeper from the question before. It's a little bit of a deeper dive into what it is they need. You can say most of your prospects feel like they're falling short in some area, or most of your prospects have no idea how to, most of your prospects have the goal of what is it that they want to accomplish. You think about all of those things, and when you answer those, then you're one step closer to being able to offer to your client what it is that you sell in a way that your client is going to want it. So we look at things, and if you've been listening to my previous podcasts, I talk a lot about writing these things down. If you don't write them, you tend to forget them. So when you're working on this assignment, this homework, this task to grow your business, get out a pen and paper and write them down. Write down the answers that you've been coming up with when you're thinking about these questions. And then you can pull together a profile. For me, my ideal client's profile is someone who has been in business for a while, but they're still just starting out. They have not really gotten into the depths of their business, and they're not sure what to do or what makes sense for them going forward. But they're entrepreneurs. They're people who have been in business for a while. But then it goes on, because I know that not everyone who's in business wants my help. So the next thing I look at is, okay, I'm talking to people who have been in business for a little while, but I need to narrow it down further. I want people who are making at least $20,000 a year. Reason for that is, for me, is that these people understand that they're in business to make money. But they also know that $20,000 is probably not where they want to land. They want to make more money. They want to make 100,000 or 500,000 or more. So they are willing to do the work like I'm talking to you about. They're willing to listen to my examples and sit down and figure these things out. They're willing to spend the time and the energy to do what needs to be done. They don't want to just sit back and say, okay, I'm open for business, and wait for it to come, because it's never going to come. It has to do, when you're picking your ideal client out, it has to do both with who you want to work with and who wants what you have to offer. And again, for me, I want to work with someone who wants to work for themselves, who wants to put in the time and effort that it's going to take to get them down the road. They want to have the knowledge and the experience to get them from that 20,000 to 500,000. They want something. I want something. And we both work well together in that way. But we need, very specifically, we need to find people that both want what we have and who we want what they're willing to offer. Does that make sense, guys? It's not always an easy thing to do. And again, if you don't understand something, send me a note. Let me know your questions, and we'll talk about them. Identifying your ideal client is something that takes some time, and it can be difficult because, of course, when we start our business, we're excited and we think what we have to offer is valuable and that everybody out there is going to want it. And in the beginning, you may actually find some people who buy it just because they want to support you. They want their family, their friends, their colleagues, and they'll buy something just because they feel bad for you, and they want somebody that wants to help someone. And that's exciting, and you think you're going, and that's great. But then the sales stop. And you get kind of frustrated, and you don't understand what it is. And that's when you have to really start thinking, about what it is. Let me give you some other examples of a customer profile that a website company has created. Their person is a decision maker in his company, and he is excited about what it is you all are offering, and he'll probably sign up. He's a small company, but growth focused, and he wants to grow his business. He wants it to become bigger. He thinks that customer service is something that's really important to his business, and he will be interested in customer service concepts that this company who's putting together this profile can help him with. They're finding out the characteristics of the person that they think is going to be someone that's going to buy from them. Does that make sense? And then they continue to go, and they look at what are the client's end goals for the service that this company is offering. What are the most important features? And their idea for this person is that they want their company to look like it's an authority figure in the field. They provide valuable information for potential customers using education, and they generate qualified traffic and leads to the site through their newsletter. If you are the company that's putting together this profile, and you've figured out who the client's characteristics are, and then you can sell them on these items because this is what the customer's looking for, that profile is going to buy what it is you have to offer. It's not a feature, it's a goal. you're looking at the end goals. What are your end goals? What are the end goals of the person that you're trying to sell to? Does that all make sense? Again, take some time and really think about these things, because I can guarantee that they'll help. The next thing you have to look at is, where does this, it's called oftentimes in the business community, it's called a persona. The characteristics, the person you've created that fits your ideal customer. Where does that ideal customer hang out? Do they hang out in coffee shops? Do they hang out in bookstores? Where online can you find them? What are the tag words that you need to type in to find where this particular type of customer hangs out? Are they going to hang out in groups on Facebook, or are they more Snapchat? Or perhaps they're higher end business customers who look at meeting their contacts and potential vendors and clients through LinkedIn. What is the ideal place where you can connect with them in order for them to come to your website? Okay. For me, I use Facebook a lot, but I also use LinkedIn. And people see my information and they decide this is something that they're interested in, and they start talking to me on those platforms. Okay, now let's get excited. You've got a potential customer. Do you immediately send them a note saying, "Oh, I'm so glad you connected with me. I have all these wonderful products and services that are going to make you feel better and keep you cool and keep you out of the heat," and all of those kinds of things, when you still don't really know if this person is really your ideal client or not? Something we all want to do, because now we're really excited and we think, "Oh, hey, I know I can sell to these guys. I've got the ideal customer. I've got what it is they want." And you send something to them and you get a response back, "Do not contact me again. This is spam." Not a real good feeling, is it? It's not something that we want to have happen. So how do you avoid that? Well, sad to say, there's some more steps in this whole process. And the next step is getting to know that person. You may have heard the saying that's been around for years and years and years, that people buy from those they know, like, and trust. Stop and think for yourself. You've just met somebody for the first time, and you have no clue who they really are beneath that smile they've smiled at you. Are you going to buy something from them, particularly if it's as expensive as, $1,500 air conditioner? Probably not, unless you're absolutely desperate and you don't know of any place else to buy an air conditioner. You're going to want to do a little bit of research first. And here's where relationship building comes in. On a true level, you need to start talking to these people. Perhaps you can have a get to know you call and chat for 15 minutes with the other person and just get to know a little bit about them. Send them text messages back and forth and asking them questions and not throwing your business in their face, because they're liable to disconnect from you and unfriend you. You need to be careful about what you're doing. I often tell a story about someone that I read about on LinkedIn, who was in one of the LinkedIn groups I was in. And this was a few years ago, but she had a cupcake store in downtown New York City. She got on a group that was all women, and for a year, she became very visible on that page, sharing thoughts, advice, asking questions, everything under the sun, except she never said a word about her store. She never said a word about liking cupcakes. She never said anything about living and working in downtown New York. One day, people started asking her questions. And they said, boy, you really seem to know a lot about the stores in downtown New York. How come? Why do you know so much? And she said, well, I own a business, and it happens to be down on Fifth Avenue or someplace. She still didn't say what it was, but she told them that she was a businesswoman and she owned a store. Well, then, of course, the next questions were, oh, you do? Well, what is it that you have that you sell down there? And that's when she finally was able to start talking about her store, her shop, her cupcakes. Immediately after that, sales went up in her store by over 60%. It took a while, but she got sales, and they never went back down. They just kept growing and growing. And it was all because she had created that relationship with people that allowed her to show likability and trust. And the people decided that they liked her. She probably made pretty good cupcakes, and they went out to eat with her and buy her yummy, good things. And it was a great way to grow her business. Now, I'm not saying it's going to take you guys a year. It may take longer. It may take a lot less time. But you have to put in the work first before you expect to grow your business. And I know that if you believe in this, and if you figure out who your ideal customer is and focus on that customer, I know that you will see growth in your business as well. With that, guys, I am going to end our show today. You can always reach me at www.don'twaittillpigsfly.com or BSU Connector on Facebook and Small Biz Junkie on LinkedIn. Thanks, guys, for listening so much. I really appreciate you coming and spending this time with me. And I look forward to talking with you next time around. I'll keep you posted on what that's going to be on my Facebook page, Dream to Reality. And we will again talk soon. Our next episode will be Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be chatting about some good things again. If you'd like something in particular, send me a post on that Facebook group page, Dream to Reality. And I'll talk to you next week. Y'all take care and soar higher.
Thank you for listening to Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly with host Nancy Becher. Join Nancy every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Global Voice Radio.